Ever fancied making a classic Italian risotto at home? Welcome to our culinary journey, where we'll be mastering the art of this creamy, comforting Italian classic. Risotto, a timeless dish, has a reputation for being tricky, but fear not. With the right ingredients like arborio rice, a good quality broth, dry white wine, onions, olive oil, and Parmesan cheese, you'll be on your way to creating a mouth-watering masterpiece. So, buckle up your aprons and let's dive into the process. Stay tuned to learn how to make this creamy, flavorful dish step by step. The first step is always gathering and preparing our ingredients. For our classic Italian risotto, we need 1.5 cups of arborio rice. This particular type of rice is crucial for achieving that creamy risotto texture. We'll also need 4 cups of broth, either chicken or vegetable, depending on your preference. Just remember to keep it warm throughout the process. To add depth to our risotto, we'll be using 1/2 cup of dry white wine and a small, finely chopped onion. We'll sauté the onion in 2 tablespoons of olive oil until it turns translucent, unlocking a whole new level of flavor. And of course, we can't forget the 1/2 cup of grated Parmesan cheese, which will give our dish a punch of richness. To season, we'll use salt and pepper to taste. Optional add-ins could be extra grated Parmesan, a splash of cream, or some chopped fresh herbs. Now that we have our ingredients ready, let's move on to cooking. Now comes the fun part, cooking the risotto. Let's start with sautéing the onion. Heat a couple of tablespoons of olive oil in a large, heavy-bottomed pan or Dutch oven over medium heat. Add your finely chopped onion into the pan. Keep stirring. We're looking for that translucent quality. It's a telltale sign that the onion is ready. Next, it's time for the star of the show, our arborio rice. Toss it into the pan and make sure every grain gets coated with that delicious onion-infused oil. We're going to toast the rice for about a minute or 2. Keep an eye out for the edges of the grains. They'll become slightly translucent. Now let's add a bit of pizzazz with some dry white wine. Pour it in and stir continuously. We want the rice to absorb most of the wine, so keep stirring until you see only a little liquid left in the pan. The wine not only deglazes the pan, but also adds a subtle depth of flavor to our risotto. Here comes the patience part. Begin ladling in your warm broth, 1 scoop at a time, stirring constantly. It's important to wait until the liquid is mostly absorbed before adding the next ladle. This process of adding broth and stirring is what gives risotto its classic creamy texture. It's a labor of love that usually takes about 18 to 20 minutes, but trust me, the result is worth every stir. As we near the end of our cooking process, it's time to adjust the seasoning. Give your risotto a taste and add salt and pepper as needed. Remember, the Parmesan cheese we'll add later also brings a hint of saltiness, so be cautious with the salt. Finally, let's finish off with some cheese. Remove the pan from the heat and stir in your grated Parmesan until it's melted and well incorporated into the risotto. The cheese adds a beautiful creaminess and richness that rounds off the dish perfectly. With that, our risotto is almost ready. It's been a journey, but every step has been worth it for this creamy, flavorful classic Italian risotto. The final touches can make a good risotto into a great one. Now, while our risotto is piping hot, let's stir in the grated Parmesan cheese until it's melted and well incorporated. This will add a wonderful, rich creaminess to the dish. If you're feeling adventurous, you can introduce some optional add-ins. Sprinkle in some freshly chopped herbs like parsley or thyme for an extra flavor kick. A little more grated Parmesan wouldn't hurt either, especially if you're a cheese lover. Remember, risotto is a dish best served immediately. As soon as it's ready, dish up and serve while it's still creamy and hot. A final garnish of Parmesan or herbs can add a nice visual touch. And there you have it, a classic Italian risotto, ready to impress. That was quite a journey, wasn't it? We've walked through the process of making a classic Italian risotto, starting with gathering our ingredients, such as arborio rice, warm broth, dry white wine, finely chopped onion, olive oil, and grated Parmesan cheese. We've learned the importance of sautéing the onion until translucent, toasting the rice just until it's slightly translucent at the edges, and deglazing with wine for that extra touch of flavor. We've discovered the art of adding warm broth to the rice, 1 ladle at a time, stirring constantly, and adjusting the seasoning before finishing off with cheese. And most importantly, we've emphasized serving the risotto immediately, while it's still creamy and hot. Now you're ready to bring a taste of Italy to your kitchen with this classic risotto. Buon appetito!